Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Raising NA, the show where we break down what's going on in North American Amateur and Academy. It's your boy Smax here, ready to get into all of it with my good friends Cubby and Rafa, homies, my ride or dies. Tell the people how it's going, boys.
I tried to go get fast food before this, and I could not leave my driveway because it was so slippery. It's a lot of weather right now. So welcome to the Midwest in January.
Yeah, definitely vouch. He is not exaggerating at all. It is hell here. There is actually a city called Hell, Michigan, which is a fun little tidbit for you.
Mark,
Rafa, what about you?
Well, my throat is kind of right now since Friday, but thankfully we're recovering. I can actually talk. On Friday morning, me, Smax, and Alk Battery did a co-stream of the Riot 2022 announcement thing, and as they can confirm, my voice sounded like death back then. I can actually talk this time, so
gotten better.
we're recovering. Yeah, and thankfully I don't have any other symptoms. So my worst fear was, oh God, I got COVID, right? But thankfully, no fever, no shortness of breath, no like.
We're dodging out on all that.
Yeah. Nothing else. Yeah, I literally just think that like I was in Mexico over the New Year's, which I mean, understandable that maybe I like got COVID, but like I had the test the day before I was there, and everything was fine. And over there, the weather is like mid 70s, and I came back to Utah and it was like 25 degrees Fahrenheit. So like huge cold shock, and I think maybe just the weather like fucked up my throat on the way back.
Nice.
So
I love talking with you guys about weather because apparently that's the most entertaining thing we can talk about besides League of Legends. So that said, we are wrapping up. First off, thanks to Unified for hosting us. That was not necessary for them. We're going to do this either way, but much appreciated. Thanks in advance for Sam doing double duty from hosting the stream, and then now back here. So Sam, thanks for doing some double duty for us in advance. But guys, we've got 32 teams that we can talk about, some rosters that were revealed. Sorry, Wildcard, you were leaked by the stream. So I guess Radiance. We're talking about it now, yeah. And just Radiance was also leaked by the stream, so yeah. Anyway, I guess we can start talking about it. Guys, I know that we had a few things like we wanted to start out with in terms of the tournament, but also before we did that, we wanted to hit on some of the changes that are happening in amateur in general.
Before we do that,
giant curveball.
300 Twitter followers today. Let's fucking go, yo.
Oh, nice.
Hey, yo.
Thanks, guys.
Let's go. Huge. And now the next milestone is 400 Twitch followers for the Proving Grounds pod at twitch.tv/Proving Grounds pod.
All right. I did not even realize that. So
socials plug.
All right.
Yeah.
I usually do that at the end, but Mark, I appreciate you doing it now. That said, we do have a couple, I guess, format changes to go over. So how things look different in this spring compared to last summer. So one big change, no more scouting grounds. That was taken out. It's only the Proving Grounds format. And then we have 2 qualifiers where even OQs, you can get points to aim yourself towards qualifying for Proving Grounds. 10 teams make it. The top 6 qualify for the tournament. And the bottom 4 amateur teams play the bottom 4 academy teams as they fight it out for the last spots for Proving Grounds in general. What do we think about the changes overall?
Well, I think the first thing that jumps out is that there are a lot fewer tournaments this time around. Everything to get into Proving Grounds on the amateur side of things comes from the 2 qualifiers in the spring and then the 2 qualifiers in the summer. At least the spring so far has been announced to be by Unified. I think it's safe to assume that the summer will as well. They've done a great job so far, so they probably will, but that's what's been announced so far. And that just means that your tournament results in the individual tournaments matter quite a bit more. And it was announced today, and I actually learned this today as well, that the OQs actually give you Proving Grounds points also. So playing well in the OQs actually does get you more points to get into Proving Grounds too. I did not know that until today, but that is a thing that we talked about on the stream just a bit ago. So interesting stuff there.
I did not know that either.
Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, I don't think there's a lot that I know on the Proving Grounds side. This year, I was out of the country, so I was like just kind of away from all the tier 2 stuff. So I'm just coming back and like catching up on everything, because I feel like I missed out on all these roster moves and the exciting development of the teams in tier 2 outside of the big ones that are the conglomeration or the partnership of either a official tier amateur tier 2 team for an LCS org, or like a partnership between an LCS org and an amateur org.
That kind of like snowballs into our next point, which we were going to start talking about, like kind of the impacts of the offseason that like happened for amateur. So if you guys weren't in tune with last year, that's okay. We'll try and do a quick synopsis. Last year in the summer, there were 5 LCS teams that had academy, or amateur teams, I should say. We saw from 2021 summer to 2022, 16 promotions from players from the amateur ecosystem moving up into academy. 9 out of those 16 came from LCS third teams. And we actually saw that have a lot of ramifications on how the offseason operated in the amateur space as a whole, because players, I mean, already had a lot of reason to go to an LCS affiliated team just to have access to like that extra staff and those extra resources. Salaries are still rather low in amateurs, so usually that would give you a little bit of a bump in salaries as well. But now it feels like players have more of like, I want to go there to try and promote faster, because if over half the players that got promoted are from third teams, that seemed to actually play into a lot of the offseason decision-making that we saw, and a lot of like how the decisions kind of tumble down the chain.
Yeah, really big deal. I think the biggest team in that department has been 100 Thieves Next, of course. In its first inception, 100% of their players got promoted from 2020 into 2021 spring. So they've been very, very good at doing that, and it seems like the other teams are following suit. So yeah, really exciting stuff. And let's just start with the new guys on the block. Really happy to see 100 Immortals taking the step to get into this as well, partnering up with AOE, a team and an org that has been around for this entire last year in the Proving Grounds space. Really exciting stuff. What are you guys' impressions of this team? Because we've got some returning members from last year's Proving Grounds, most notably Winston, who plays top 6.
Yeah, and also just before we dive into this, for anyone that's following along live instead of on the recording in the Twitch chat, I have linked the document to look at all the rosters. If you guys want to kind of follow along that way as well, that would help. And we'll throw it in the description of everything as well. Just make sure you guys have access to it. But yeah, starting with AOE Immortals. So good partnership. I give AOE actually a lot of credit for being a new org last year and really trying to push to like find new ways to promote players, or not like new in the sense that like we don't really see a lot of dedication towards content in amateur, and like they actually had a YouTube channel that they publish more than some of the LCS teams. So credit to them. That actually happened. So credit to them. The one weird part about the partnership with Immortals is the fact that there's actually a clause in there that says 3 out of 5 of the players have to come from the Great Lakes area. And they've defined this in a pretty broad term. Like I think it goes out to like Minnesota, Illinois.
Even Ontario counts.
Ontario counts, yeah. So it's like
you can get Canadian players from Toronto.
Yeah, but at this level of play, like if you are an LCS affiliate, it feels like I know that they have a big push to grow in that area. Like they moved their headquarters there, I think I saw as well. But limiting yourself on the players that you can grab, it didn't really have that big of an impact this season, because there are actually a lot of talented players in that area this season. But for future seasons, I'm interested to see if they actually stick to that. Because I feel like there's no reason for you to limit yourself like that.
Yeah, it is a limitation that will have future ramifications if they need to stick to it. But I think, like you said, Cubby, I think it might have been better to just like make it a novelty thing for this year. Be like, hey, most of our players are from this region that our team is now based out of. I definitely see the upside. Like, I think the upside and what their PR statement probably is like, there are a lot of undiscovered players in this area that haven't gotten a chance, and we're going to show that this is a valuable and worthwhile investment. So that bit of it is cool. I'm assuming that is along the lines of what they're thinking with this. But yeah, I definitely see the downsides to it. So that is something that they're going to have to think about for the future, for sure.
I get it, or I don't know, like that. That to me is something where it's just like, is that like an investor requirement or something like that? Like, it just kind of feels like,
yeah,
I get the push in that area, but there are ways to do that without like saying, all right, 3 out of the 5 players have to come from this area, which is weird. Like, I don't think we've seen anything else like that in this space, besides like colleges competing, but that's different. So yeah. But besides that, yeah, I'm a fan. Like, I do like the roster they put together and like who they have on the squad. I'm really interested about Brandini coaching, actually, a player that has consistently stepped in. The sub even did so last year with Wildcard Red, who were the top amateur team in summer, and now kind of transitioning that coaching role. See a lot of players doing that in this offseason. So I think that as the game kind of matures, having more people that have sat in the seat of a player and then also, have the social skills to coach is really valuable. And wish Brandini the best as he kind of shifts into that role, and excited to see what the team says about what he's able to bring to the table. So yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Mist continuing to coach too on 100 Thieves Next now. Acadian now stepping into the coaching role on not Dignitas, Golden Guardians Academy.
Dylan.
A lot of cool examples. Yep.
Collegiate, but yeah.
Yeah. Demonte is also a positional coach.
Yeah.
For CLG as well.
And Apollo's over there too. So
there's a lot of players, not just like amateur academy and even LCS, that are now like positional coaching or just going into coaching roles, which I think I think Stixay is now a positional coach as well.
Yeah, Guardians, I think.
So like, I think it's a natural progression for players. I like, just a mini topic for players, if they are not able to continue playing at the highest level or competing at the highest level and having, a spot on a team, coaching, analyst, manager, or on-air talent is the next like logical progression for you as a player, because you bring an insight that is incredibly valuable, that you competed at the highest level at some point or still compete at the highest level in your state. So, for players that are, in that spot where they're not able to continue because burnout is real, always consider that as an option. I know that there are some amateur players that are not playing this year, but are considering pursuing some on-air talent roles, which I'm really excited about. I'm not gonna spoil anything because I think that's yet to be revealed, but really excited to see what they do. I think we can end IMT AOE with this. If AOE made the amount of content they made without LCS affiliation and support, Immortals is already pushing for more content this year alone, not just through LCS, but as me and Smax see it, from the Wild Rift side as well. They do a great job of getting really up and close with their players, post-match interviews, even in losses, which is really humbling to see. And it
in a mobile game.
Yeah.
All right, let's go. I'm here for it. Yeah.
Yeah, they like Wild Rift post-match interviews. Even in losses, they'll get the players to like, all right, come on guys, let's talk about it, just be honest and candid with the fan base, tell them what happened, and how you're going to shape up for the next match or the next tournament, And it's super cool to see. And they even do vlog content for the Wild Rift Pro players as well. So like, if AOE can get that on board for their amateur roster,
possibilities, man.
And you guys are in the Great Lakes region. I'm from Michigan. Cubby's from Illinois. If you're doing stuff in person, give us a call, man. We'll be there. we're right by you. Be fun.
Yeah. So yeah, it was definitely good to see that partnership emerge. At the moment, we have 3 confirmed LCS rosters, that being the only partnership, and the other 2 being EGP and Hunter Next, which also, I guess that kind of transitions us talking into the teams more. But I think, like, do we have, before we do that, like, is there any other note that, like, we want to have about, like, kind of what we saw in this offseason? I do want to say that across the board, from what I've heard, is max salaries have not necessarily gone up, but there are more people that are getting paid monthly stipends to compete in amateur compared to summer, which is good. So that is also good to see or hear. As Mark's gonna go dark on us here for a sec, as he's fighting, throat stuff. So you know, he's.
I need agua.
Yeah, sometimes you gotta huck and chuck and go get water. But yeah. Anyway, that said, now that Mark's gone, and we get to really party here, Sam.
What? Don't shit about me.
So this might be a good time to run the bracket. As now on your screens, if you are watching on YouTube or watching live on Twitch, you can check out the round 1 matchups that we have across the board, 1 versus 32 and across. So yeah, and before we do hit on this, I actually just want to touch on a message real quick we just got from the GM of Immortals. 3 out of 5 is not an investor requirement, and we intend to keep it as long as we are in the amateur space. Attention to highlight and uplift talent from the region. So yeah, I guess first localized talent seek from Immortals. They are putting a huge emphasis on helping out the Great Lakes area and looking for talent there. And so yeah, good to see.
Thanks
Thank
so
you.
much.
Yeah,
for the insight,
appreciate
Jake.
it. Yeah,
Really appreciate that.
Cool. So yeah, these are round 1 matchups. We do have someone else in the chat, Griffin, explaining the Swiss bracket. So yeah, Swiss bracket it starts off here, and every round you will play someone that has the same record as you. So if you are 1-0, you will play another 1-0 team. If you are 0-1, you will play an 0-1 team. It will also be based off of seeding, we believe. So that means that Golden Guardians Academy, if they do win their first matchup, would play the lowest seed that is 1-0. Right?
Yep.
I mean, well, I guess the highest seed, right?
It'd be the lowest seed. So if Golden Guardian, so let's say there are no seeding upsets in this first match, and seed 16, which is UCI, if I'm remembering correctly. Let's double check this real quick.
16 would be UCI, right?
Great.
So if they beat Team Ambition, there are no upsets.
So if there are no upsets at all, then Golden Guardians would then be playing against UCI, because
Correct.
UCI would be the lowest seeded 1-0 team remaining. If
Correct.
there are other upsets, like if Zodiac Esports were to beat Under Thieves Next and Golden Guardians Academy were to beat Meme City Esports, then they would play against Zodiac, because Zodiac is seed 31. So that would instantly be their next opponent. No other matches would matter for them until the next thing. That's how Swiss works.
Yeah.
And it's 5 best of 1, so you play 5 games.
And so also important to note with the format that we have, every win counts as 5 points towards your Proving Grounds point total.
Yep.
So
which is kind of meaningless until we know what the actual rest of the points are, but for now that's all we have.
I'm gonna make the dumb assumption that might be somewhat close to accurate, that if you win all in an entire tournament, you get 100 points. So that means if you go 5-0 in OQs and you win it all, it could be 125 points. And I know that the way that they want to set it up, or at least their goal in terms of setting it up, was if you do win one of the 2 qualifiers, no matter how you did in the other one, you're in. I know that that is one of the motivations that they had to set it up, and also that goes off of some of the changes that they made from 2021 spring to summer, where they made it in summer that if you did win, you were in. And they
didn't know that.
Yeah. So I'm gonna take a flyer on the points, even though the points have not been announced in terms of the whole tournament, but hopefully UEA sorts it out soon enough for us. But yeah, so this is all of our first round matchups. we kind of wanted to, since there are 16 games, we kind of wanted to go about this in a little bit of a different way. I think that we will spend some time talking about our top 8 seeds, as those are likely the ones that are most likely to get through and be what we expect to do better in the tournament. But we did want to talk about all 32 in like a couple different ways. The first of which is actually this fact that a fourth of the teams that we have competing in this are collegiate rosters, something that we have never really seen before. It was Winthrop and Maryville competing for the past few, or I would say 2 splits last year, with Bay State making an occasional appearance.
Yeah. 2021 was really just Winthrop and Maryville being the top collegiate rosters.
Mm-hmm.
Bay State only was in like
Cup.
like maybe qualifiers, you know, but never got through an actual
they got through one. They got into groups for one. I think it was right. ESL, but
and if you
don't remember.
Look back, so I'm gonna steal the show for a bit, because I know Cubby is kind of the collegiate man, since he built the program for the University of Miami, Ohio esports program, which is pretty damn cool. But when we consider past years of collegiate strength in scouting grounds, whether it was the Face It circuit from 2019 or 2020, the only collegiate rosters that you would normally see, like Maryville has always been the best collegiate team, hands down, like representing it within tier 2. But you would sometimes have one of the other collegiate teams that used to be a powerhouse alongside Maryville, and that was University of California, Irvine, UCI. And look who's making a fucking comeback, UCI, as one of the 32 teams.
They got Cinnamon Bread in the roster too, Rafa.
I know.
Yeah.
So Smax and I are very well acquainted with 2 of these players. Not only Cinnamon Bread, the dude that we made some limited edition.
I forgot that was on the stream. Yeah, that was on the co-stream. Jesus,
very limited edition. The bread would have gone moldy. Within a day.
It was only limited to a clip. We'll say that. But we also have Barrick, the top laner for that roster, who we got to see directly from the Play Versus high school circuit in spring 2021.
There are a few players like that in this tournament. Really cool. Like Toasty Alex is in here too.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah.
Pretty cool. So before we dive into the rabbit hole of going over a lot of these rosters, we are going to try and do it, like split this up a little bit. So the first one is actually just the 8 collegiate rosters that we have, because that is a number that we've never seen a percentage like this. And it's interesting because this is an OQ, right? So a lot of these teams have not been playing together that much. Some of these collegiate teams have been playing together for the past 3-4 months, right? The past school semester. So I know that given seeding, most of this was based off of the criteria that was in-house was solo queue rankings, then competitive experience, which kind of made up the 32 teams. But I think the collegiate teams could be interesting, just given the fact that quite a few of these teams have been playing together for a few months and might have a couple, team things over some of these OQ squads.
Yeah. New season, new teams being made. Like we had Sniper on a week ago, and he said that on that day was the first under Thieves Next scrim. Mm-hmm. So a lot of the amateur teams have not been playing together for very long. Probably like within the last week or maybe 2 weeks sometimes. So yeah, definitely. For sure, the collegiate teams are going to be a leg up in that department, and I think that's where a team like UC Irvine, like Bay State, and of course the more known teams, if you were a Proving Grounds fan in 2020 or 2021, excuse me, Maryville and Winthrop, come in and maybe can break all the way through. They are seeded in the top 16 for that reason as well.
So, and this is like what gets interesting, right? So going through the seeding real quick. So from, I would say, lowest seed to highest seed for collegiate rosters. University of Toronto, a school that has historically produced a lot of good players. placed rather well in C-Law last year. Doesn't have a ton of support from their university, but always gets really good people to come out of there. They are C28. Michigan Esports is C26 with the surprise of ShamWow, the top laner from ISU, now playing for them. Grandview University is 22 as Colthrow makes his return there. And Tempos making his return to Redbird Esports, ISU at 21.
With Disconnector top.
Yes, with Disconnector moving top. Then we have UCI at 16.
Again?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like every other year Disconnector roll flops between ADC and top.
The Rumble's too good, man. That's all we can say.
Yeah.
UCI is at 16.
Is literally like Gorka 2.0.
Yeah. UCI is at 16. Winthrop is at 14. Bay State is at the 9 seed. And Maryville's at the 8 seed. So that's also, not only is it 25% of the 32, but 25% of them are actually in the top half of seeds as well, right? So not higher than 8th, but still, this is where we're at. And so I guess, are there any teams in particular that you guys want to hit on?
Of the collegiate ones, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, like I was saying, I think UC Irvine is super exciting. Like the players we just mentioned, Kim Down ended the ranked season of last year ranked 2 on the ladder. Pretty big deal. Kim Down, support I'm looking out for sure.
Yeah. Kim Down is the current longest standing member on the UCI esports roster. In fact, Kim Down was still the support when I had temporarily ownership of UCI as Rex Regalis during the 2019 or 2020. Trying to think, when was Rex Rivals? I think it was 2019. Yeah. 2019, when they were Rex Regalis and Bloodwater had graduated. So going into the summer, UCI wanted to compete and they were looking for orgs, and I offered Rex Regalis. They took the offer, and so that roster was Captain Nukes, I think, Avi, Deskerton, who is now Ariandel.
Yeah.
So in this tournament.
Young. Oh my gosh. What's Young?
That's actually Youngbin.
Yeah, Youngbin.
Yeah, Youngbin.
And Kim Down. Yeah.
That's
Kim
actually
Down was a fresh player that year.
That's something that's also kind of interesting because Supernova is also 3/5 of ASU. So
yeah,
even more collegiate
that's
players.
what I'm saying. When
Yeah.
I looked at Supernova's roster, I was like, holy shit, I'm looking at the 2019 collegiate season all over again, because you have Bako, ASU, Fire Theft, ASU, and then Deskerton / Ariandel, Psycho, ASU, and then I don't remember if Pseudo's on a collegiate team, but
and Mayamo Big
Pseudo
D
was, yeah. Yeah, you know, he graduated now. He's an adult, so he can handle himself, right?
Yep.
Guy's gonna have a classroom here pretty soon. On in and out of coaching league.
Yes. Apart from that, I think obviously we got to mention Maryville here. 3/5 of the 2020 roster is back.
Yep.
And the other 2/5 were from the Supernova team during that same time in 2020. So pretty exciting stuff. Cubby's looking at me confused, but it's Odd Orange and APA if they are playing.
They are.
If not,
they're not.
Yeah, but if they do get in, then then they've got a full house from 3rd, 4th, 2020
That's true.
scouting ground.
Yeah.
So what's the situation by that? Because I'm looking at the sheet right now and I see that Kind Jungle is the starting roster. Getback is also on the starting roster.
So
go ahead, Cubby.
Maryville obviously has 2 rosters. I can't speak on Kind. I know that APA, he is starting his first semester of college, and for the first qualifier, he's going to be focusing on school, and there's a chance he might play in the second. But he's going to be adapting to school. So
I think it's a good move. You know, I'm sad that APA is not going to be on my screen playing some League of Legends, but it's a good move in the long run for him for sure.
Okay.
Focus on your studies, kids. All right, get that degree. Speaking of, CJ's diploma just came in the mail today. Pretty cool. Very proud of them.
Oh,
huge.
Happy for CJ, aka Smax's partner, who is not only so incredibly supportive but also tolerant of
Us talking League of Degen hours.
Late night league shows.
At late night.
Yeah.
Past their bedtime.
Yep.
Huge part. Yeah. Okay. So I guess in terms of that, I do want to talk about Bay State more, but I'm going to actually do that during some dark horses. And besides that, ISU, I think it is worth mentioning that Drew Dozer did hit number 1 on the early season ladder, and that team has won an entire split of Unified Premier League. So, and that was a similar roster, right? It was ShamWow and Disconnector, but still. They can hit high highs, and Drew Dozer can catch people off guard with his unique champion pool, I will say. Corky's pretty good right now, which is pretty good for Drew Dozer. And GVU, I think it's worth mentioning that Dreher has coached dev teams that have qualified for stuff like this before with Wildcard Black for the last calendar year, and has a couple talented kids over at GVU, and they might have a shot as well as a lower seed to maybe do a little bit better than what their seed is in OQs. But yeah.
I think if we're talking about the collegiate strength of rosters this year, it really does give me a 2019 vibe overall, because
I think way stronger than 2019.
Well, but I think before this year, I think 2019 had the strongest collegiate rosters that year in the scouting ground circuit. Maybe 2018 was better when Supernova was really the only powerhouse amateur team, and Polar Ace was just starting to form before Polar Ace had their domination that eventually became Buff Cat into Radiance, and then it just became a Radiance Supernova show or a Radiance Maryville show, right?
Rafa, I'm also very surprised that you haven't mentioned Winthrop with Frost Forest and Kenji being back.
Yeah, they're back.
Oh, I know. And I'm happy. But like I expected that because that's 2021. I mean, I'm a little no TSM amateur this split, so you know that changes things. But you know, I'm still saying like the overall that adds even more powerful collegiate rosters to the overall pool that we have. So like we're getting a best of both worlds, where in the past collegiate actually was on the level of some of the top amateur teams, and those top amateur teams though are now LCS affiliated orgs. Not to mention we still got a fucking academy team that's playing in this Proving Grounds Qualifier and Golden Guardians as well.
Yeah.
We're fun for that.
So something else we wanted to bring up, I guess that was kind of our collegiate corner, the top 8 seeds, and kind of focusing on who our top 8 teams are. So I guess we can kind of check Maryville off the list. Is there anything else you want to add about them, as they are the 8th seed?
My piece about them, I think whatever they decide to do with mid jungle, the core of that team, the guys that we expect to be playing the whole time, Niles, Evan, and Shady, are so stellar. These guys will be enough to win you games, and I've heard only good things about Get Back. I've seen Kind Jungle play as well. Really impressed by him. So this team is going to be great.
Yep. Moving on then. We have our 7th seed, who is Radiance.
Oh, have we just been going like down the?
No, we're gonna do
sporadic, but
we're going into top. We were doing that like
now.
We're trying to like figure out like different ways to like talk about like the 32 teams. So we did the 8 collegiate teams. Now we're gonna do the top 8, and then we're all gonna give a dark horse and a team to look out for.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna spoil mine real quick because Radiance is my dark horse.
Okay.
Yeah. I thought
7
about it a
dark
bit.
horse.
I mean, my dark horse here, I'm not saying I think this team is going to win to get in. I think they have a pretty all right chance to win.
But you think that, okay, so what constitutes as Radiance then, like, for you, like, having a good tournament? Or, like, where do you think they're going to fall compared to a 7 seed? That says you're out in quarters.
Yeah, I think they are going to get top 4. I think they could win.
Okay. That's
here's the reason. So firstly, obviously the biggest thing that you look at when you see this team is, that is a really, really young and inexperienced mid jungle. They've got a 15-year-old mid, they've got a 16-year-old jungle. Are these guys going to work? I have that question too, because I haven't seen Crimson play competitive, and Bluster's split was rather short last split on EG Prodigies. However, I do have faith in these guys to pull off some pretty exciting stuff. I think Bluster's games where he was able to play super aggressively were really standout for me. I was actually really impressed. I was not expecting a lot from Bluster coming into the team very fresh, but I think he definitely made a case for himself being really impressive and a player to look out for. And with that being said, the reason that I'm really excited about this team, apart from the new rookies, is that I think that this bottom lane is one of the best in the entire tournament. They've got Raheen and they got Light Pulse. I think Light Pulse is a support to watch out for this entire year. If you watched him play last year, you'll know this already. His mechanics are really crazy. And I expect him to continue to show that and even surpass that with a very stable bottom laner in Raheen. And I'm super pumped for this team. I think the bottom lane is going to be really stand out for this tournament, and I think it's going to take them far.
Okay.
The only other note that I had was that Gangplank is going to be really broken with the TP changes, and that's really good news for Porsche.
I mean, you're still playing against Niles, the king of Gangplank.
Sure.
So.
Sure,
okay.
But
I think it'll be a nice.
They can't both play Gangplank.
Well, then when it's the Radiance Maryville matchup, then Gangplank.
Gangplank on red, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Ralph, do you have any thoughts on these guys?
I think I'm really excited to see Crimson make his competitive debut. For those that don't know, Crimson is the
twin
younger brother of General Sniper, or twin, the twin brother of General Sniper. So I'm dude, the fucking Viper family's got some amazing genes that they can all be challenger at such a young age and play some of the most mechanically demanding champions. But when they played against Tarzan's team, I didn't see a single Yasuo or Yone game, and I felt jebaited. I'm like, come on, man. So, dude. Crimson, you better pull out the good shit. It's cool you're playing meta things like the Syndra, Orianna, it's good to have that in your arsenal, but play to your strengths, play to your brand, bro. Let me see the Yasuo Yone. I need to see you styling on some kids in the tier 2 Proving Grounds Qualifier scene, because if you do that and you play towards Bluster and this team works out, then this will be the first time that Radiance is relevant again since 2019. Straight up facts.
Okay.
Like, if that sounds harsh, I no disrespect, but that's after 2019, every other Radiance roster was very weak comparison to the rest of
2020, didn't they? They placed pretty high in 2020.
They did, yeah. They did all right in 2020. They had Avi and Young.
They were.
Yeah, they did all right.
Okay.
Yeah.
They were okay. They were like a top 6 team. So, but they were never like a powerhouse team like they were in 2019. I mean, the yoinking of the Polar Ace roster was the best way to be introduced into the amateur scene, and they have not been able to replicate that ever since.
Okay. I am not nearly as high on Radiance as you guys are.
I'm not. I'm not saying I am. I'm just saying, like, this is what needs to happen if they want to be relevant.
Okay.
As like a top 2 team.
I'm a believer.
I mean,
That's cool.
I think this team has a lot of young players that can be really talented. I think Raheen is probably the most experienced, and so he's gonna probably have to lead. And he has never been in the position where he's been the most experienced player until, I believe, like competing like in fall to winter outside of PG. on the roster that he was on. So I'm nervous about them going up against more experienced teams and lacking an in-game leader. And I think that, like, what I like about Radiance is that I think that Bluster and Crimson have a lot of upside. I actually think that Porsche has been playing pretty well in Collegiate. And has like really expanded his champion pool and kind of diversified himself more than just like, hey, I'm really good at Gangplank and Wukong, right? I feel like he's like added some more aspects there. I'm not high on the bot lane. I think that there are actually like a lot of pretty good bot lanes in AM, and I think that like Raheen and Lightpulse, that I don't look at that bot lane and be like, oh, they're gonna crush Array Dawnbray, right? Or like, oh, like Violet Chime, like they got this, right? Like,
okay.
Yeah.
You've given the two examples that I would have them up there at the top tier with. Okay.
All right.
Okay.
But I mean, even like Meech Trevor, Skepstrian's like Daption. I mean, if they are able to topple those lanes and prove me wrong, great. Like more power to you, right? But I don't see that in the first tournament. So yeah.
Fair enough.
Violet Chime.
Yeah.
I mean, like Lynx and Gweiss and Eno and Duo King are also like not bad bot lanes from like what we've seen out of UPL. True. So, yeah, I think bot's actually like pretty competitive in this tournament.
I will say I think this is the year that Raheen has to step up and prove himself, because he had to constantly fight to distinguish himself during spring against the top marksman talent at the time, which were Value, Apollo, oh my god,
Gorica.
My mind's help. Yeah, I'm trying to help.
Gorica Winter.
Gorica Winter.
Array was in the league at that time. Wixie as well.
Yeah.
No, they were better. They were better bot lanes that split.
Yeah. I mean, even Instinct. Even when 100 Thieves were still trying to figure out their top half of the roster and they swapped them out and got better players across the board, Instinct and Busia were still a better bot lane, or like Instinct was a like more potent carry. Raheen has had a lot of bright moments, and he's also acknowledged and come on, whether in interviews or just talked about, there's a lot of moments where like he knows that he can be great, but he has like a lot of just like fumbles. And so he's working on that. I sincerely hope, because after talking with him as a person, I know he works hard and the results just don't always come through on stage when it matters. And, you know, that's a shitty feeling to experience. But, you know, I hope for his sake that he can show a peak this year.
Nice. Sweet. Moving on. We got No Team. Which is Dragoon, Griffin, Blaze, Scooped, and Plux, or the artistly formerly known as Plux.
His Twitter is still Plux, so I'm still calling him Plux.
So yeah, I like this team.
I do too.
I think that it's got to be like probably a funnel Griffin angle, and
I hope so.
Yeah,
Griffin's
like
really good.
Looking at like Scooped and Dragoon and like how they play, like they got to funnel either Blaze or Griffin, and I feel like it's going to be Griffin for that one. But yeah, I mean, I think this team like is actually, I expect them to make it out of OQs. I'm more so really curious to see how they play, because once again, like I'm going to expect Plux to probably be the one like leading comms there, or Dragoon. So I'm curious, like, because once again, it's a roster that has some experience, but like still lacks against like the other rest of the teams like we're going to be talking about now. But I thought this was like a nice AM roster. Like, this is what I like to see in AM, right? Like, throw something together, shitty logo, who cares, right? 5 guys playing, yeah.
That logo is not nearly the worst logo.
Oh, no, it wasn't. It was not, but I laughed at it.
Can we just say, how is fucking Elton XT Mock always becoming the manager of such a dope as fuck team with no real org behind it? They just put the shit together, they throw on a logo, and then boom, and it's
just a memer, you know? It's just like,
dude,
yeah, I'll help out.
XT just knows how to bring together talented people. That's his superpower. That XT is just.
Is it that, or does he sign up after? Who knows? No, but
Oh no, come on.
It's definitely him.
No,
yeah.
XT is the one that brings.
And Pukar as well.
Yeah, Pukar and XT go to duo. Shout outs to both of them.
Say no, it's a good team to run in AM. I'm excited to see what they can do. Griffin, super young. I thought I was really bummed he wasn't on an LCS affiliated team. And Dragoon was even someone that was considered for academy spots. So yeah, I think this team is going to have a little bit of a chip on their shoulder, and I always like when that happens. Not having an org.
Be good.
Yeah, let's see it.
That's true. That's true. Very similar team name to No Org as well. I wonder if that's a coincidence.
Cool. Yeah. All right, moving on.
The LCS affiliated teams now.
Also, I know I'm getting ahead of myself because it involves talking about another team higher up on the list, but I'm just going to say it right now. When no team plays against Wildcard, I want the first match to be. I want to have extra stakes on the line.
Griffin.
Whoever wins gets to keep the fucking name. The other person, you got to fucking name.
No, Griffin has a Y, man. We're good.
No. Because
it's different.
Griffin takes down Griffin. Do you see how confusing that shit is? Like, what are you supposed to say?
No, yeah. No, I'm with Rafa actually. If no team wins, Wiggly returns.
Yeah, you have to go back to Wiggly. You have to go back to Wiggly, dude.
If Griffin wins, then Griffin.
You got to go back to Wiggly, bro.
If young Griffin wins, he becomes Griffin Jr. If Griffin/Wiggly wins, then Griffin becomes Griffin Jr. and he gets to keep Griffin. Those are the stakes.
I mean, if I'm Wiggly Griffin, I'll be like, if I win, you got to change to inferior Griffin.
Like, ooh. Oh wait, I like this idea.
Lesser Griffin.
Ido. He changes to Griefin.
Griefin.
Yikes. Yikes.
Please, I will put in $100 to make this work. To make this
you got
happen.
Money on the line now?
Yes, I want to bet money on this shit, but only if they agree to
like,
change their names afterwards. Otherwise, I'm not in at all.
It's like you can win Terry Bradshaw's money, except it's Rafa.
Oh, wait, I like this idea as well. If older Griffin wins, then younger Griffin has to change to Wiggly with a Y. That's really good too.
Yeah, I like that one. Yeah, we do have Pluto versus Pux Deluxe. I always call them Pludex, so I feel weird saying Pluto, but we'll keep on moving on. We got our first LCS affiliate team to talk about here. EG Prodigies at the 5th seed.
Yeah, so pretty exciting players on this roster. I think the big story here is that a lot of these guys did go to Proving Grounds in the summer, and they're back trying to do it again. A lot of AOE members here, and then
one Wildcard alumnus.
Yeah, some guys that went to Scouting Grounds as well. The last Scouting Grounds. Those are Perry and Daption. So pretty cool stories here, all culminating into the Evil Geniuses Prodigies brand. This is I think it's fair to say that this is the the LCS affiliated team that has the least experience on it. I think that's fair to say.
Really?
Yeah.
You're right.
Players in Winston's
yeah. There's no players that have had any academy experience. I would say that what Evil Geniuses Prodigies did insanely well. They got basically some of the best talent that had not had academy experience before during the 2021 Proving Grounds circuit. So they promoted pretty much all of their current or the starting Evil Geniuses Prodigies rosters that they started with at the beginning of 2021. Most of them. And they are now with a new class. And honestly, like the way that Evil Geniuses Prodigies went from 2021 to 2022 is very similar to how 100 Thieves went from 2020 to 2021 in their first class and going into their second class, right? And so I think so far, 100 Thieves and now Evil Geniuses Prodigies have demonstrated the best pipeline of amateur to academy and not only picking the right players that deserve and can compete at an academy level, but now they can continue fostering a new generation of talent that I expect more than likely can have a lot to show. And I know that a lot of the players that we're looking at on this roster did compete in Scouting Grounds. There's one player on here that was not in Scouting Grounds that I'm really excited about, and it's Leo, who came from AOE, not randoms, if I remember the name, or AOE randoms, right?
With Faisal.
Yeah, with Faisal. And
wasn't he on the main AOE team? Am I crazy?
No.
Faisal?
Oh yeah, no, he was on the main one with
Faisal
him and Sketch were him and Brady were on that one. My bad.
Yeah, Faisal and Sketch were on the main AOE roster, but Leo was on the second AOE roster. But Leo is incredibly exciting as a mid laner, and I think now that he is in a not only across the board upgrade for upgrade, pound for pound better team, but he is in an environment and LCS affiliated infrastructure gives you access to, coaching staff that comes down from Evil Genius's pipeline. It's not a guarantee that like the Academy roster will like scrim with you or the coaching staff from Academy will come but you have access to great resources that, AOE did not have. So I think this is a year where Leo will flourish as one of the best mid laners in amateur.
Okay. I'm more excited about other mids than Leo. I think that Leo was good at doing his job. But I think that like I'm kind of wanting him to show more than that off of like things like Jace. I feel like Jace was like his big standout champ, and besides that, he was just good at doing his job, which is still good, but I think a lot of times like I'm looking for people to make insane plays to like work out. I'm actually excited for Sketch Streams. I think that Sketch Streams last split, he had to swap supports halfway through. I think that him now being paired with Daption, who I think somewhat unanimously for most people is like the one support that, you're kind of scratching your head at, like, hey, why isn't this guy in Academy, right? I think that, having Daption like on this team now with Sketch Streams is a really good opportunity for Brady to like play with someone who played with Arrow for the last 3 months of summer and try and learn from that and improve and have someone that we expect to be a steady force in the bot lane. And I mean, before that, I thought Daption was like almost better with Team Luke and like that meta where he was just going like for these maniac engages. Like they really stood out on that roster. And I actually do want to bring up the fact that Trickster is back later too. Speaking of that one.
Yeah, he is.
I'm excited for Sketch Streams. I think that Daption might have a chip on his shoulder as well, because I thought that he was another support that was Academy ready, and he ends up here in EGP, which is a great spot to be in. But I think he's playing with something to prove. And I think that Perry is also a really, really good jungler. And I've heard a lot of good things in like how intelligent Perry is, which is really weird considering the fact that he's like 18 and pretty much coming out of solo queue and was like second competitive experience, right? Scouting Grounds really being his first. And Faisal, which I will give the same clause for Faisal that I will give any other top laner in this tournament. Top lane talent, a lot of orgs believe that it's figured out and that none really exists outside of what is in the LCS Academy or third team ecosystem. If you play well top and you start taking names, I think that there is a lot of room for you to go up quickly because we need more good native top laners in NA. So I actually thought that Faisal that's a really difficult role. And I thought that Faisal is going to sound bad, but was actually really smart at dying at the right times. Like he would be playing Scion and would just absorb like so much pressure and do shit that like I expect to not see a lot of AM top laners do, where I'm like, hey, like that actually like makes sense, right? And then he can also play the Camille's like relatively well. But when I see like those like kind of like small things like, oh hey, like you're going for that wave because, like if they show here like you get a free play bot, like that stuff like that, like that's fine. Like I thought that Faisal actually like had a lot of nice moments and was really slept on. So I think that there's a lot of good opportunities for players to stand out here, and especially for anyone in the top lane. If you stand out, you are a dime a dozen.
Those are the tidbits and stats that you cannot get from a match history record. You actually have to go and watch the fucking games. Just saying. Make sure that you're watching the games, people.
Yeah. All right, moving on. We kind of already talked about AOE IMT.
Yeah, we did. That's true.
I'm excited to watch Sochi on that team and to see Meech and Trevor back. So yeah.
I think Meech is one of the best AD carries in all of North America that hasn't gotten a shot yet. I think he is very, very talented.
He was Omega griefed by the situation last year, and and his team. It was not the best team to support what they wanted. So now on IMT, I think this is a year where Meech can be incredibly dominant. I honestly, the AD carry talent pool is really exciting, but I'm ready to move on to Wildcard.
I agree.
All right, Wildcard Gaming.
Let's get into Wildcard. So first and foremost, really happy to see that 3 of the Zeus boys are getting paid this time around. they went the whole last year.
Lorem's cat didn't pay?
Lorem's cat paid in snuggles, but
I mean, only a Lorem gets the snuggles unless everyone just showed up to a Lorem's house after getting a Mr. Beast burger or something. But like,
maybe, yeah. But yeah, jokes aside, I am really happy to see them getting on a team, and a team like Wildcard as well, which is one that is really devoted to winning in the amateur ecosystem. Like they're established as that. They've brought themselves forward in that discussion in 2021. They're keeping that pace here. And yeah, I'm really excited for this team. I think Strompus is a great pickup in a core with these guys that have a lot of experience going into the late game situations. And I would say, I'm racking my brain here, but I feel like Strompus probably was the best late game mid in amateur last year.
I mean, that's what his playstyle and the champion pool he was known for, right? I mean, he had the Rise, the Vagar, and the Azir. Yeah, Cassiopeia. I mean, he shifted towards mainly late game control mages and hyper carries. So I think there's something that has to be respected about a roster like Wildcard, where you have players who have been playing competitively at
5+ years.
Yeah.
In 3 roles.
Like that top half, the top 3-man core, that has, like, they have gone through so many metas and so many bullshit patches. I don't think there's anything in season 12 that will surprise them or catch them off guard. So like that, these guys can adapt to almost anything. And when you have such a stable core on that side of the map, like the newest player, the most rookie player is Manui, which is someone that they kept from last year's roster. Because from their Wildcard Black roster.
Yes, yeah. On that team.
So yeah, and it's funny because I think there's a point where Manui dropped from the team. We don't know the reasons why. And so they had to replace him temporarily with Psycho, but now Manui's back. So looks like everything's resolved. Even Rhino is an experienced player as well.
Yeah.
He's played on Academy in recent years. So
I want to talk about Rhino actually, because let's think about the support pool right now, in specifically amateur. I know Chime is playing in this tournament, but let's just talk about amateur. So Winter is not here, Breezy is not here, Busio is not here. Who is better than Rhino?
Daption is what most people would say, but I had Rhino over Daption on my prospect list for the whole year. But that was also a prospect list, and I value like Rhino's ability to find just engages that no one else can.
Do you still remember the clip and the
Set Oriana clip from him and Tuesday?
Where like Wiggly Griffin is telling them, okay guys, back up, and then Pocket Rhino just flash ults instead and finds the engage, and you just hear sick. Griffin go, oh, okay.
Yeah. I actually I think usually like someone else is going to challenge actually at support this year is going to be Sword. But
yeah, when he starts playing,
Sword is going to be playing in Academy as Busio is focusing on school to start out. So Donbray is stepping in, And Donbray is someone that I actually think improved significantly throughout last year in his first competitive split, and someone I'm bummed doesn't have like a main team, but also I'm glad that he's playing on 100 Next. So that's good.
It's a good place to be.
But
it's huge.
I think the biggest thing about Rhino for this upcoming year is making sure that as high as some of those highs are, like some of the low moments are like really head scratching. And so like trying to negate those and then work a bit better with, jungle and around top lane setups. If they're going to, I'm interested to see how top lane setups are going to change now with the TP changes. But he was a huge part of the meta roaming to the top side of the map as support last split.
For sure.
And I think that's something that is not easy to do and learn in solo queue. So I really want to see if Rhino is able to show more consistency there as he does move into another year of playing. But really excited to see him back on a good roster. Speaking of good rosters, up next, our last amateur team, number 1, that is going to be 100 Thieves Next.
Yeah. Time for a self-plug. If you want to hear about this team from General Sniper, we did an interview with him a week ago. So, go check that out if you'd like. But yeah, let's break into this team. So 2 pieces, Resolve. I'm really excited about those guys getting onto this squad. Of course, Fnatic and Array. Insanity, straight out of LCS on Immortals. And like you were just mentioning, Cubby, they've got an interesting support situation right now. Dombre, later Sword. I think this team has one clear goal in mind, and that is making sure that General Sniper has competitive experience, and with that, trying to build the most PG competitive roster that they possibly could. I think they've succeeded in doing that second part. It's up to them to do the first part. I'm really excited to watch him grow and maybe see a future LCS star develop in front of our eyes.
It's weird to think that like Sniper has 2 years before he can play an LCS.
Yeah.
Same for Academy, right?
No, 1
for
year
Academy,
in
2 for
Academy.
LCS.
But I think if his age wasn't a thing, he'd be playing an LCS tomorrow on one of the 10 teams.
Probably.
Remember when I was talking about Faisal and I said like, there's a lot of opportunities to stand out in the top lane, and the top lane's kind of like a talent pool wasteland.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this guy, like, having said that, is literally the best prospect probably across Academy and Amateur that exists in the space. Like, it is wild to think how good this player is at the age that he's in and at the pedigree he comes with, given who his family is. So I think overall I'm really excited to see him play. I expect there to be some growing pains along the way, but also have really high expectations for what this guy can do on the Rift, given his age and lack of experience, just given how good he is in solo queue. Like, just on another level compared to even pro players at his role. Like, that he is a freak. So I really, really, really am looking forward to seeing him play. And I think that this team, when you combine that with the fact that Fnatic and Insanity, I think, in Amateur are hands down the best mid-jungle that we have, this team is going to be really good. And I'm really excited to see them play. And I think that anything outside of top 2, unless they get knocked out by GG8 earlier than that, would be a surprise to me, frankly.
It's really easy to tunnel on Sniper's development as well on this team, but
Array's second year playing.
Yeah. Array
Swords
has not
first
been
year in a
very
role swap.
long.
Dombray's second year playing.
Yep.
Yeah.
These other guys in the bottom lane are definitely on this team to compete with the best of the best and try to, get promoted as well. They're in that amateur LCS affiliated pipeline that we were mentioning at the top of the show. That has been wildly successful so far, even more so in 100 Thieves Next. So, this is definitely where most of these players, if not all of them, wanted to be in the offseason, I'm sure, outside of like Academy LCS, of course. So, super, super thrilled to witness this team come together, and just waiting for their first game to happen in 2 days.
100 Thieves have got it so fucking well organized.
I mean, whoever got Sniper this year was going to have a pretty nice advantage.
Yep.
I mean,
not only in like the fact that you have the most talented player outside of the ecosystem in a role that has the least amount of talent outside of the ecosystem, but also like it's really easy to say like, oh hey, we got Sniper, you want to play with us?
Yeah,
like,
there's a reason that they announced it
yeah,
first.
Yeah. So it ended up being a really nice situation. Whoever ended up landing him was going to be in the similar situation, but it's 100 Thieves. Yeah.
Yeah, of course. I mean, like, you know, and I don't want to take anything away from General Sniper because we're all hyped on this player for a damn good reason. But yeah, like that should not downplay the other people on this roster either. I think Array is such an exciting bot lane talent, and for him to, if you think about the trajectory that Array had, his first competitive split was spring last year on Supernova, where, you know, Supernova barely got in. They didn't even get in to Proving Grounds tournament in the spring, right? If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, they got in the summer, but not spring.
Yeah, they didn't get in spring, and yet Array was still making a name for himself through the Jinx and the Tristana gameplay throughout that spring split, and it was enough where Barrage, on becoming Resolve, said, you know what, this is the best ADC prospect that we can grab for replacing Gorica now that he's on TSM Amateur. And through Resolve and because he also evolved during his time on University St. Thomas, Array went from like a sleeper marksman player to one of the best bot laners, not just marksman, because now he also knows how to play Ziggs and other AP carries.
His Syndra was really nasty. I thought that Array was the strongest player in Collegiate in the fall, and a big part of the reason that UST was having so much success. And if you look at how Resolve built their strategies, there are two arguments. One, they either think that Ornn is really fucking busted, or two, they figured out that playing for Array's late game was a way that they could manufacture the most wins, and they did that pretty well against a lot of high-level teams in Academy. So, this is a cool roster. Moving on. We've got GGA.
Yeah.
Oh, you got one more thing.
Two last things to wrap up. One, I think it's incredibly cool that we get to even talk about family narratives and like generational narratives. Like League of Legends
pedigree
as a whole.
He's like the first. Him and Crimson are literally the first people with pedigree. At least like an NA, yeah. Besides,
with a family pedigree,
Maple Street and Audubon.
That's always such a this shit is becoming a fucking anime now, where we're getting like the next.
Here come the anime reference.
Like, yeah, hey man, I've been catching up on Naruto after.
Quick, someone give me the Eagles game in chat. How the football wrap up?
Out of the past 15 years, so that's where my mindset is right now. I just see it like, oh shit, Viper was supposed to be, like this top lane talent that was always a solo queue menace, but he never got a fair LCS shot until later on, where it was past the peak of the solo queue terror menace days. Now General Sniper is coming up. He's already at what seems like his solo queue peak, where he is terrorizing.
You can't get any higher than a rank 1.
And well, he didn't get 2K LP, so not even trying.
They're grabbing him
what a failure.
into an amateur roster that can effectively move him into an academy roster by 2023, where he will be eligible, and then potentially LCS by 2024. So grabbing this person now is, what I would have hoped or imagined for Viper. And I still think, I want to see Viper do well on TSM Academy this year, obviously, but when you look at shows and it's you are going to surpass me. You're going to be the person that I never could be, you know, kind of like the family generation storylines like that. So that part is exciting. Second part, General Sniper, you got to win the next fucking Tyler 1 money match, because if you keep losing, I'm never going to forgive you, and all this hype will be for nothing. So just please, man, please, you gotta take a match off Tarzan. Moving on.
I mean, he's gonna have to beat Alorum in this tournament, probably, right? So.
Yeah.
Ooh.
That'll be fun.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
I think that Alorum put in here earlier that the counter to Viper's family is Alorum. So I like that one. That's
just
good.
Poppy.
Yeah. Last but not least, we got Golden Guardians Academy. For anyone else, that is Tony Top, Iconic, Ryoma, Violet's Chime with Value listed as a sub. As I do not know if Violet is in NA or not, or will be in time for this. But their game plan is to compete in both this and Academy to start off the season. Something that only Golden Guardians has done with these amateur tournaments, and are now doing it for a third time, I believe.
Yep.
First off, always love seeing Academy teams here. I think that some amateur teams may not agree as much, but it does up the level of competition. And, you know, forces everyone to, you know, prove what they look like against an Academy team. I think this Academy team is really interesting for me because I think when I was rating my Academy teams, it was probably where I had the most disparity between where I ranked players and roles.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Like I had everyone in very different places, which I think will be interesting for GGA. I think the first player that we have to touch on and mention, if you guys are fans of Academy, Ryoma, leaving 100 Thieves, coming to GGA, who I thought was the strongest mid, or top 2 with Harry. Smax thought was the strongest player in all of Academy.
That's not true.
Oh, okay.
I think he is now that Luger is not in the league.
Okay, that's fair. Luger was really fucking good. And yeah, we'll be seeing him in LCS, of course. But I think that this is a big, like, off-season move for Academy. I think it's very interesting that someone that won all of Proving Grounds, that team kind of split up, and now Ryoma finds himself on Golden Guardians Academy.
Yeah, I just like Cubby said, I think he's the best player in Academy. I think he's the best player in this tournament. Ryoma is really crazy, and hopefully will, you know, spread that that skill off into the rest of this tournament. Because like you said, Cubby, it's a good thing for pretty much every aspect that Golden Guardians Academy is in this tournament. It helps Golden Guardians get practice. It helps elevate competition levels in the tournament, which helps all the teams in it. And I
am also not sure about how the prize pool works.
Yeah, I don't think they get any of it.
Yeah,
I'm pretty positive.
That was the rule last year. If Myra's in chat live to maybe touch, or anyone knows about that,
probably Unified staff.
I would actually, I would like details.
I have mentioned that in a couple of Unified meetings, and I have not been corrected. So I think that I'm correct with that. But yeah, they obviously don't get anything in terms of Proving Grounds standings either.
Yes,
but it's been pretty nice to see what Golden Guardians Academy teams have done with that practice time. Biggest example, of course, last split, they did not place in the seeds that would allowed them to qualify directly into Proving Grounds. They did have to play in Unified. They got third in the entire Proving Grounds tournament. Pretty huge.
We've seen that both splits of Proving Grounds where one of the teams that has to go down and play just like giga scales. And I know from talking with both of those teams, like specifically like Shoryu from EG, like in the spring, he was like, dude, if we didn't play in that tournament, like we would have never been in the position we ended up being in. Like we would have never fixed those problems, right? Like that tournament helped a ton. So I think that was pretty interesting.
Yeah, really big deal.
Yeah, so I was talking about like disparity between roles. I have Ryoma. I think very highly of Ryoma as a player.
He's so good,
and he's, you know, top of his class in Academy. I think one of the other interesting things is that Iconic and Chime are the only players that were in LCS 2021 that are playing in Academy in 2022, but they are not the only ex-LCS players from 2021 playing in this tournament. The other one, of course, being Insanity. But I think that this will be like an interesting place like to fall. for these guys. What's up, Mark?
Iconic and Niles had to play against each other. No, man. No,
Huge.
The bromance is dead. Oh, Sedge. Ethan and Aiden, no.
Also, to amend Smax's previous point, Academy teams actually do get prize money. They do not get anything else.
Oh, that's so sad.
All right, I was wrong.
All right. Anyway,
apologies for the misinformation. I think I've said that. I think I said that on the Unified stream as well. So,
now that Mark is out of the family ties here thing.
My bad, Unified. Please don't fire me.
Yeah. So I think Iconic and Chime are coming down are interesting. I would argue that. I think that Iconic going straight to LCS and not having a year of Academy to continue to develop was aggressive, and it kind of feels bad now that he's back in Academy, but I think that this year would have been good for him last year.
Yeah. I think he did improve a lot in LCS for what it's worth.
I think that his performance in LCS was not nearly as bad as I thought it was.
Yeah.
Or what fans thought it would be. And yeah.
It got better too.
I think that the good part about Iconic is that if this guy's playing power farmers, like something that's hungry in the jungle, I think that he is really strong. That's where he did really well in amateur beforehand. That and going top. Which I mean
when you got Niles in the top lane, you always got to play it.
Yeah, and now Tony Top. I mean, I don't. Tony Top was someone that like I always kind of struggled to place, and someone that like as an individual for Academy, I'm not giga high on, but I think he's going to give a lot of amateur top laners a really tough time. He's got a weird champion pool. He loves split pushers, and if he does get ahead and gets counterpick, he's really good. My issues with Tony Top were when he had blind pick. I think that he's struggled in a lot of those matchups. If this guy gets counterpick and gets to pick what he wants to play, he's a nightmare to go up against. And it's going to give a lot of teams a really tough time.
Yeah,
hey, we got a lot of 2020 top lane rematch matchups here. Mirage, Tawny Top versus Niles or Maryville Niles again. Holy
It'll be fun.
Shit. Those were top 4 teams, the 4th and 3rd respectively. So.
Yeah, and I don't know if you mentioned any like thing about Chime other than he's coming from LCS. I think very highly of Chime. Chime's really good.
Yes, I do as well. I think that Chime was forced on a main engage role and did like pretty well, given what he was up there in. I know that once again people have pretty varying opinions on Chime, but I think highly of Chime as well. I think that and whether Violet or Value plays, I think Value's really good. I don't know what kind of form Value is going to be in, as I know that he said he was going to retire, but obviously if he's listed as a sub, knowing how competitive Value is, that guy is going to be in top form. So I would be curious. That'd be a little bit MU reunion. He'd have to take down Niles too.
Iconic, yeah, that'd be really fun. To touch on Violet just a bit, he was the best AD carry in the Oceanic League this last split. That's with an asterisk though. FBI, Raze, and King had already moved to North America, so there is that. Also Katsuri, for what it's worth. Take that as you will, but yeah, Violet did stomp Oceania for this last split, so pretty cool there.
Cool.
Okay, well that's our top 8.
We gave dark horses now, and then we'll probably wrap things up.
Yeah, so I gave mine. So I'm in the clear for now. You guys already shit on me for mine, so
I
Rafa, what do you got?
As much as Cubby did.
Yeah, that's a weird.
You were still skeptical.
I'm very skeptical of that dark horse.
Yeah, right, I was in.
Whatever. I got your back, Radiance.
Well, to be honest, I didn't look through every single roster. And
this is post-sabbatical Rafa.
I do want to talk about a roster. However, I think Cubby is going to bring them up as his dark horse.
Which one?
I thought you were going to talk about Bay State.
That's yours too? Let's go. I'm here for it.
I know the players on that roster, bro.
Okay, yeah. You do know Serenok and DMK pretty well. If you take those 2, I'll take the other 3 because I picked up some more info on them.
Sure.
You guys are teaming up on me with the dark
True.
horse race.
I think Bay State is criminally underseeded.
Yeah. But we'll talk about Bay State in a little bit because I think it's only. I would like to talk about some other people that I was really excited to see, and it's the Supernova roster because it's the Arizona State University boys plus my boy Deskerton. I know he's name changed to Ariandale now for the past 2 years. I'll still remember him as Deskerton from Rex Regalis. So
name him, bro.
So like, but I think Bako is one of the most underrated junglers coming into this split, and this is his first time competing in amateur. And I remember when, like, the reason why Arizona State University is such a special team to me, because one of the first paid gigs I ever got, it wasn't that great, but pay wise, but it was the first paid gig I ever got.
Did you get free soda?
Well, we got $15 an hour, so like, you
always remember your first.
Yeah, slightly better than a minimum wage job. Casting wise, that's garbage pay, but it is what it is. But it was for a collegiate tournament, the PACI 2019. Shout outs to Space Ghosts and Casanova, who were with me on that broadcast, and we saw Arizona State University versus UCal in the finals. And Arizona State University at the time had Cat on Thy Roof. Hi, I'm Bako. He was an Akali player. The name is escaping me, and I cannot remember the bot lane name now. And then on the UCal roster, XU was the jungler at the time. So those two junglers, and XU and Hayam Bako, were two players that I'd always wanted to push to compete in amateur. XU jumped on it right after UCal, and went around between like Fruition Esports. There's a couple other rosters before he finally made his way to Cloud9 Amateur, and now Dignitas Academy this upcoming split, which is huge. Happy for Lawrence. Bako did not compete in amateur until now, and I think Bako is someone that deserves a lot of eyes on him, because his champion pool is pretty much my champion pool, which is
Nidalee one trick, baby.
Lee Sin. Dude, I just have a fucking affinity for Nidalee players, man. Like it's so fucking clean. But Bako is a very underrated and a dark horse jungler in a pool where there's a lot of talented and already established junglers. So I'm really looking forward to Bako proving his name among these people. And I think this is another year where, Supernova tends to find a lot of diamonds in the rough that have not been polished yet. And whether Supernova are the ones that end up doing the polishing, or if they are just the ones that say, hey, you should check these players out, they're really good, and then more established teams, or that teams that have more resources, like, or just that are higher up in the standings, say, oh yeah, those players are really fucking good, let me just yoink that player real quick, and then they go on to greater things, right? So
yep, cool. ASU shoutouts for sure. Moving on, I did want to hit on Bay State, because I think that Bay State is a team that is underseeded, and this is interesting because it's actually like a weirdly international team in a way. So these guys, for their roster, they're the 9 seed from top to bottom. It is Beige, DMK, Serenak, Sophia Sage, I believe. Is that how you pronounce it? Sophia Sage?
Mm-hmm. Sophia Sage, yeah.
That's a mouthful. And then Brain. Yeah. So these guys, as a collective unit, DMK and Serenak are the ones that, of course, Rafa was talking about. Probably because Rafa can speak Spanish with Serenak, and then they can talk shit about me behind my back because I can't understand it.
This is my Venezuelan homie, man.
Yeah, so these guys have been 2 mainstays for Bay State in the collegiate scene. DMK also had an appearance at C9A for a little bit. Is pretty much known for Lee Sin, where he's really good.
Yeah, and he's also been a one of the top junglers in past scouting ground circuits. And then it just, between 2020 and 2021, it had a little bit of a dip because there's a lot of other good junglers that came up in the space.
Yeah.
But DMK is still a good jungle prospect.
So Beige was someone who played actually on the LAN server and had 3 accounts in Challenger and 2 were over 1K LP.
Mm-hmm.
Then we go to bot where Sophus Sage, he was the AD that was on the 5-Fire Winter, I believe, Radiance roster that ended up winning taking 4th in Scouting Grounds, or he competed. My bad. This is 2017. He was in Scouting Grounds. He was on Team Cloud with Jenkins, Panda, 5-Fire, Winter.
I was like,
yeah, my bad. That's my bad. That's my bad. I'm going through notes on my second monitor here that I got from their coach a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Brain was 1.1K LP, and is also the talker according to their coach. And yeah, I think that given like how the seeding worked with competitive experience plus solo queue, given the fact these guys have more competitive experience outside the region and have hit pretty high ranks in solo queue that's also outside of NA, I think they're slightly underseeded, and there is going to be a tad bit of a language barrier. But they're pretty confident, at least like from talking to them, they can figure it out. And if that's the case, I mean, they have the individual skills to like be a pretty high ranked roster. So
yeah,
I think they're going to be a really interesting dark horse and someone that I think might challenge for like being one of the better collegiate teams that we have in PG, because we have 8 of them. So I think that's going to be something interesting to track as we go on. So yeah. I want to talk. I wanted to talk a little bit because, like, I'm sure that people didn't recognize the names necessarily on the list, but these guys like do have some credentials outside the region. So I think they're going to be a really interesting team. So yeah.
Yeah, and I think for those that don't know Serenok that well, Serenok competed in the not the professional LLA region, but basically like the minor LLA on a couple of teams. I think it was during the 2016-2017 period. He was one of the top mid laners during that time. Serenok, probably his favorite / most known champions are things like the Zoe and the Xerath. So artillery, long range control mages.
Fucking Xerath, man. Oh god. We're gonna see Xerath played at some point. We have Captain Shrimps in a tournament.
First strike.
Yeah.
This is
Captain Shrimps is here with Serenok, so
during
we're gonna see
the
a Xerath.
2021 collegiate season. I think Serenok, Robbie Bob were like the only 2 players that would go to Xerath as like a go-to comfort pick. I don't know if Strumpus ever played Xerath. I feel like that would be up his alley, but it's not as
Strumpus playing a mage? No way.
Well, but,
no way.
I don't think Xerath scales as hard as other mages, right?
You don't think Xerath scales? Mistaken. You're crazy, man.
I haven't played Xerath in like ages, you know, because so many other mages have just.
He has less DPS than something like a Cassio or Azir. You're definitely right.
I know his mid game is nuts because that's when you group up and you siege and then you have insane poke. But then by the time you get to late game team fights and you need like consistent like DPS, he's not that.
Yeah, he's like a concentrated version of Ziggs and the glass cannon. So
sure.
his damage is crazy, but it's not DPS. I wouldn't call it.
So, I did want to add. I want to talk about Bay State because I knew that like those players aren't as well known, but I think they're pretty talented. 9 seeds a little bit high for a dark horse. If I was going to reach further, I really hope that Dinka's team and then the Taco Gaming team with Doxa both make it into groups. I think that both of these teams could be really tough draws or like not fun teams to have in your group. Because the Captain Shrimps core, I mean, these guys were the ones winning all the UPL matches, right? With that top side. And the Nerd Street stuff, yeah. And then also Taco Gaming. Trickster and Doxa could be really fun. Like, Trickster was someone that he ended up getting comp banned for. Personally, I felt like it was really harsh and he was kind of manipulated by like the upper management that he like ran into. So I'm really happy that Trickster's back. He was someone that showed a lot of promise early on last season before that unfortunate series of events happened. And he's around Cozy and Lynx from Supernova last year. Gweiss stepped into 100 Next and did okay. Like,
should be good.
Yeah, I think that that's a team that also like, you know, I really hope makes it through. Because I think they'd be really tough to go up against. So yeah.
All right. We've got our dark horse race in full form. We're betting on our horses. And yeah, that's as far as I'm going to take the analogy. Any closing thoughts that we have here before we get in? You know what? Actually, I'll start. I don't know why I asked the question. We will be streaming some of the OQ games on this channel in 2 days, and so that'll be Monday and Tuesday. We'll be on this stream.
Is it a 9 p.m. Eastern start?
I will have to check on that.
Yeah,
but,
I think it's
whenever
late.
Whenever the unified games are, we will be playing. Or we'll be going. They will have 2 best of ones on Monday, and 3 best of ones on Tuesday.
We could maybe grab a bonus one if a raffle file wasn't streamed. Yeah.
Yeah. We'll try our best. But yeah, we're gonna give that a shot, and yeah, it'll be the 3 of us. Yeah.
It will not be the 3 of us. It won't be
the 3 of us. Rafa is bailing. So yeah, we are taking guest applications now.
I'm not bailing. I had things planned.
I'm joking.
He's got the helicopter and the parachute.
He's more important than us. I'm just kidding.
No,
I'm joking, Rafa. We love you.
So the way that we're going to operate OQs is if a game is not going to be streamed, we will consider streaming it. And then if a game looks really freaking over and we can spectate another one through op.gg, we will do that. So we will literally be jumping around. And then we encourage you to go check out the main broadcast as well. It'll be Academy and then Unified Live. And if you are watching either of those broadcasts, you will get the 1-minute synopsis of us going over whatever games that we're co-streaming here on air. So yeah, that said, support AM, all that stuff. And yeah, Rafa, where can we find you?
Why not you guys?
You go first.
Yeah, you're first. You're on the left.
Bad. You're bailing on us, so we got to get you out of here now.
At RafaCast at every platform, literally every platform, except OnlyFans. So
we'll find you on Pornhub. You can find me, Smax High.
Dude, this episode got down horrendous, like randomly at multiple points tonight.
On Twitter,
Jesus.
and Twitch,
and it was all from
also,
Sam, by the way.
You'll be able to find the 3 of us for more Raising NA soon, and Cubby and I alongside guests on also soon. We don't know what day it's going to be on yet because there's new there's new scheduling going on. We have to try to figure that out. But I think tentatively we're trying to shoot for Fridays for the most part, as I am forced to try to cope with my own actions as Rafa is crying, and I'm trying to give some some hype for future.
I can't tell if he's like laughing or just like.
Well, I don't know. I don't know. I hope he's okay.
God. Why did you say that? Oh, usually.
You know what? You griefed my stream yesterday. Okay.
Oh, we got beef. Oh, let me sit back for this.
A little bit. I'm just so surprised that out of the 3 of us, the person that said the most out-of-pocket shit was not me tonight. Oh my God, this is.
You know what? You're right. You're right. That is usually.
It is a new year, right? Yeah, it's a new year. Cool.
But yeah, with that being said, it is a new year. We're trying to do more Proving Grounds pod. If you are a person in the space and you would like to be on Proving Grounds pod, let us know. We're going into this new year. We have a lot of episodes that we want to do throughout the entire year, and we want to get all of your stories out. So yeah, please do reach out to us, especially if you're on a team that's making waves in the space. Like if you're a team that people don't really know and you get through the OQ, send us a DM. We want to talk to you. We're probably going to reach out as well, but yeah, definitely want to continue telling new stories. So yeah, that's my plug right there.
All right. Well, with that said, thanks for a great episode, guys. And for everyone tuning in, please tune in to OQs. They start up Monday at 9 or 8 p.m. Eastern. And we hope to see everyone in the chat, whether that's Academy, Unified Live, or here. With that said, thanks for tuning in.